So me and girlfriend B we're going back and forth, and girlfriend A, I think I messaged her and I said to her, like, look, I know we've not had the best of relationships, but I need your help with something, and it's to do with Kyle. Now, something I probably should have mentioned is girlfriend A and Rianne also had a friendship, right?
Wow.
And they also kind of took their friendship one step further, and they were in a relationship.
So you've met both of these women, right?
I've met both of these women at this point.
So the only person you haven't met in the whole of this story is Kyle. No, Kyle and
the makeup artist. Okay. Right. But I've met the girlfriend, the first girlfriend, right, in the rave when she wanted to fight me. And I've met Rianne. And also the first girlfriend, also met Rianne. So I used to notice when I was with Rianne that if I was with Rianne, I couldn't get hold of Kyle. Never. My messages.
And Rianne is the makeup artist.
Rianne is the cousin.
Sorry, the cousin. Sorry. There's so many people. Rianne's the cousin.
Rianne's the cousin.
So whenever you were trying to message Kyle,
if I was with Rianne and we were out doing something, right, I could never get hold of Kyle. Never. And the only time he would respond back to my message would be when Rianne used to get up and go to the toilet. And I just used to think to myself, it's a coincidence. It's a coincidence, like, whatever. So we had we set up a 3-way phone call.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a 3-way period. I mean, guys, if you're into 3-ways, watch episode 2, because we get into all of that.
Now, girlfriend A, myself, and person B, we set up a 3-way phone call. And I say to person A on the phone, correct me if I'm crazy, but Rianne is Kyle. And she went, absolutely. And she went, they are the same person. She was like, I said to her, has she ever admitted it? And she went, no, she's never admitted it, but I've pulled her up on it. And she's turned around, she said to me, no, there's no way. That's like, you're crazy for thinking it. And person A said to me, why do you think it's the same person? And I said, well, I've never met him. I said, have you ever met him? She went, nope, never met him. She said, he just used to buy me gifts, and I used to get gifts sent to my house. Then
oh my God.
She said, what else? And I said, he never FaceTimes me. She went, he's never FaceTimed me.
And at this point, FaceTime was a thing. A year's passed, so we're all into FaceTime at this point. Yeah.
She said, I said, does he mute the phone when he goes into the shop? And she goes, yeah. She goes, because she's a female, so she can't go into the shop and talk like a male because she's a female. So that's why she mutes the phone when she goes in.
Oh my God.
Right? And I said, and they pronounce things the same way. And I said,
give us an example of something they pronounce the same way.
There was just, I think it was like words with like an E that they would pronounce the same way. And I'd never known someone from East London. So I just used to think it's just an East London twang. It's just an accent from East London. And when I said this to person A, she was like, yeah. She was like, because they're the same person. And she was like, and the reason why I had to stop seeing him is because I got this inkling that they were the same person. And when I raised it with them, she completely denied it, and she made it seem like I was crazy. And she was like, I'm not crazy. She was like, I know they are the same person. She was like, every time I'm with her, I can never get hold of Kyle.
Oh my God.
Right? So
how are you feeling right now? It is like, is your heart racing?
If I'm being completely, I was numb. I was numb because I was like, how can someone be this deceitful? Like, what was the motive behind it? Like, I was just an innocent person.
16 at the time.
Yeah, and you've just got me involved in this for no apparent reason, and I didn't really need to be involved with it. So at this point, Kyle is still not replying. Now, all 3 of us females, we've all built an alliance with each other because we're like, no.
So you, the makeup artist.
Yep, and the first girlfriend.
Okay. And you've met all of these.
I haven't met the makeup artist.
So the makeup artist is the only one that you haven't met.
I haven't met.
But you're messaging.
Yeah, okay. we're on FaceTime with each other, right? And we're like, we need to confront her. Like, we need to ask her, like, why she's been doing it. Now, the makeup artist had never met Rianne, the cousin. Never. So when me and person A were like, kind of talking about all these things, this last person never met Rianne. So she was like, I can't kind of relate on these kind of things. So Rianne had this little obsession with person A because they had took their friendship a little bit further, and they were both bisexual, and they had both kind of done bits with each other. Kind of, that's kind of where I think the obsession come from.
So Rhiannon and
person A,
right,
were both bisexual.
Okay. So they were sleeping with Kyle, but they were also
sleeping with each other.
Okay.
So because the first girlfriend knew.
This is so juicy. Don't you love it?
Because the first person knew that Rianne had a little obsession with her, she was like, I'm going to get her to meet us. Well, I'm going to get her to meet me. And we can all, not ambush her, but we can all kind of meet up prior. I'll meet her at like a train station and you guys can all like jump out. Like,
is that what you're going to do?
We were not going to jump out.
Were you planning on beating this girl up?
No. That was never our intention. Well, it was never my intention.
So just to make things clear for anyone who's listening, at this point, you know that Kyle's not a real person.
Yeah.
So you're 100% sure.
Well, we're not. I've just created this scenario up in my head, because and I've got someone else who's also then. So
someone's confirmed it for you. You've both linked up on this.
Yeah.
And you're like, Kyle's not a real person.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the person who's at this point. We don't know if Kyle is this person, but I'm assuming that Kyle is somebody out there in London who probably doesn't even know anything about this. Kyle, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry. But it's good content, and feel free to get in touch and
give us your side.
Give us your side in the comments section down below.
So yeah, there's just this person who's also met Rianne and is also able to like collaborate my story with me. So person A is like, right, I'm going to message her. I'm going to ask to meet up with her, and we're going to have a chat. And we'll all meet up prior, and you guys will know where we are, and you guys can come and we can all kind of have a sit down, because there was no way she was ever going to agree to sit down with all of us. Anyway, so we're kind of going back and forth with each other, and we then can't get hold of Rianne for kind of a day or so. So I
wonder why.
Yeah. But right. So we then can't get hold of Rianne for a day or so. And she like pops up, or Kyle pops up. But then I think we pretend, it's happened so long ago, we pretend that we didn't know what was happening. And then I think one of us just kind of turned around and was like, Rianne, we know it's you. Like the game's up. And then he disappeared.
Kyle disappeared. So the messages from Kyle, the dick pics,
Well, no, she just kind of stopped replying. He just stopped replying. Just stopped. And he was like, obviously we've said, Rianne, you can stop now, like the game's up, and he stopped replying. So that's kind of gives it away. So this is over like a 2-day span, because I remember I was going to get my new boobs on Monday. And so it was like from the Friday to like the Sunday, and we were all like scheming on how we were going to meet. And I was like, look, you have to wait until I've had my operation on Monday, and then I'm going to need a few days because I need to come. So we were kind of, we kind of built a friendship up. All three of us girls kind of built a friendship around, like, we'd all kind of been through this, and we had all kind of like connected on that.
Yeah, you've all been hurt. You all want answers.
Yeah. So we then notice. Anyway, so Rianne then surfaces from somewhere, and person A asks her. I actually come across the screenshots the other day on my phone and had a little giggle to myself.
Go for it.
And
go on, Shannon, drag them.
So person A is having a conversation with Rianne. She's like, "It's you, isn't it? Like, just admit it's you." And she's like, "Yeah, it is." So she then admits it.
Wait. She admits that she's Kyle.
Yeah. But not to me directly, not to the makeup artist, to person A, because she's got this obsession with her. And they've obviously took their relationship one step further. And what she's trying to do now is she's trying to clutch at straws, because she wants to try and salvage.
How did you feel? I mean, honestly, I've never been catfished, so I can't come from this like experience. I don't know what.
I couldn't wrap my head around it, because I was
heartbroken?
I was, because I'd
this is somebody you've sent naked pictures to. Yeah. This is somebody that your mum was
like
invested
my
to.
first kind of proper serious.
This is someone that was part of your life for so many years, and you find out that this guy, this good-looking guy that's 6 foot whatever, is a woman who has been playing all of you all the time.
But I kind of kind of sat there and was like,
oh my God,
I'm attracted to the idea of him, but the person that I've been talking to is Rianne. So am I then attracted and wanting to be with Rianne?
Wow.
Right. So she then admits it. Then we kind of are like, right, okay, well, maybe we're like us three girls, we have real reason to kind of meet up with her anymore. She's admitted it.
I'm Kyle.
We know who it is. Fine, whatever. So the reason why she actually went missing is because what Rianne had actually done is the stories that she had told us were actually true.
But it was from her perspective.
From her perspective.
She was going to prison for drugs. She was the one.
Exactly.
But my question is, where was the man's voice coming from? Because
still the mystery.
Know.
Still the mystery. And it was her. Like she was very masculine, but like I would never put I would never think that she could be that masculine on the phone.
Did it actually sound like did it sound
100%?
I don't know how to say this.
My mum, because when my mum spoke to her,
was it like
him? Sorry.
Was it like a woman with a deeper voice,
no, it was 100%.
Like...
My mum had spoken to this man on the phone. When I told my mum was like, "That was a man. I've spoken to him on the phone. Like that was a man." So he was like,
"Shannon, right? Send me some pictures of the tits."
And we'd obviously had like phone sex on the phone. So right. I'd heard him like groaning and moaning on the phone.
And all that time you were fingering yourself and there was a woman on the other end of the phone.
Exactly. But then it makes me kind of like question myself, like, am I straight? Am I not straight? Like, because...
Well, you didn't know.
Exactly.
You didn't know, so you can't question your sexuality because you didn't know.
But I was kind of at the age where I was like going through this like crisis. And
you were 18.
I was 18.
You were groomed from the age of 16.
Yeah, and I was going to have... I was like obviously struggling with my appearance, and that's why I was going to have like this reduction and things like this.
Can I just ask, what are we calling this woman? Are we saying, what are we calling the one that catfished you? What's her name?
Rianne.
What was her... Is Rianne a lesbian?
So, I've not finished.
All right. Hold on tight, guys. It's not done yet.
So, we noticed the makeup artist get very, very quiet. Very quiet. And we're like, this is strange because 2 days ago, she was in her O2 job pulling up his phone number because his phone was via O2 and she was pulling up where the number was registered to.
That's an important fact though. Like, you know, when I kept saying they work at a phone company, because in my head I was like, it has to be one of these two girls. And I was like, the phone, when you said one of them worked for a phone company, I was like, somebody's quite intelligent.
So when we were all kind of like trying to figure out who it was, she was like, let me see if his phone's registered. Oh, I think we knew it was registered with O2 and she'd worked for the company. She was like, I'm going to pull up his account. And like she'd looked where the phone number was registered, and it was obviously registered at Rianne's mum's address, and it was in Rianne's mum's name and things like that. So there were certain clues that were kind of edging us towards obviously who it was. And we noticed that kind of over the 2 days in, she kind of just went really quiet. And we were kind of like, this is really strange. Like 2 days ago, she wanted to like meet up with us and wanted to come and meet Rianne and like ask why. And she's then just kind of gone a bit quiet. And my mum was saying to me, like, maybe it's kind of just sunk in a little bit. Maybe
when your mum found out everything, though, was she heartbroken and upset?
Do you know what? I don't actually know. My mum kind of was just kind of holding it together for me, I think, in the sense of she was like, I was obviously quite distraught when it kind of set in. I'd obviously had my operations on the Monday, so for a few days I was a bit off my face with morphine. So I think when that kind of set in, like when it started to set in a little bit, then I was kind of a bit like, why is it me? Like, why am I not good enough? Like, why do I have to like go through this? And still to this day, when something goes wrong in my life, when it comes to like my dating history, it takes me back because it's like there's obviously something wrong with me.
But you know what? That keeps happening. There is nothing wrong with you. It's the person who's done this to you.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's important for people listening or watching this to know it's never you.
No.
There's something wrong with the person who's doing this because if you feel like you have to pretend to be someone else or take on another persona, whatever, there's something wrong with you. It's not the person on the receiving end, and you're the one that needs help. So
yeah, and it took a lot for me to realize I'm not the problem. Like she was the problem. So when the makeup artist then kind of got really quiet, I remember going on Snapchat and Rianne was on this beach. And do you remember when you used to take pictures on Snapchat and you could put like the location things on?
You know what? I'd never do that anymore.
Right. So she had took a picture at like a beach, and the beach was where the makeup artist was from. And we were like, that's odd. So me and person A were then kind of talking to each other, and we're not really involving the makeup artist because we're like, something funny's going on, like we can't really wrap our head around it. So then we had a group chat and we kind of just come out and said it, and we was like, was you with Rianne last night? And she was like, yeah. The makeup artist had then met Rianne because she was the only one that hadn't met Rianne.
Okay.
So we kind of put in the group chat because Rianne was at the beach where this makeup artist was from.
Right.
Somewhere in Essex.
Rianne is the one that is Kyle.
Yeah.
And somebody from your group had met her, and they've had, let's just be honest, they had sex together. Do you think the makeup artist...
Yeah, so they went and had a conversation with each other.
Right. Do you think they slept with each other?
Well...
Come on.
Well...
Of course they did.
We were kind of a bit like, well, why would you... Now, the makeup artist categorically always said that she was straight, right? Always said that she was straight. 3 years later, well, I say 3 years later, after we kind of found out Rianne was Kyle, Rianne and the makeup artist then was in a relationship with each other for 3 years.
God.
For 3 years, and only recently just kind of broke up.
Okay.
Rianne/Kyle, they still owe me £100, which I never got back.
Tell them. If you're let's just make one thing clear though. We don't know. Did you ever meet the real Kyle? Did you ever meet?
Right. So
it
continues.
This story.
So
this fucking story.
I actually then become really good friends with person A, and I would go and we would go out together, and we kind of had this friendship for about a year or so. And I remember she was on Instagram, and I don't know, I don't talk to her anymore, but she was on Instagram and she somehow found the actual Kyle.
Oh my God, that poor guy.
And his name was Liam. And
does he live in London?
He lives in Coventry. Now, I was like, I'm going to message him.
Oh my God.
And I messaged him and I was like, look, like I just want to let you know like what someone's doing. And he was like, oh, I know Rianne. And I was like, because she was from Coventry. And he was like, yeah, I know Rianne. He was like, I went to school with her.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, he was like, yeah, she always was a little bit strange in school. And I was like, well, she's using your photos to like pretend to be you, obviously using a completely different name. And he was like, he was really apologetic. He was like, look, I'm really, really sorry.
He's apologising. She's the bitch that used his pictures.
And he was like, look, I'm really, really sorry. Then he was like, then he'd followed me on Instagram. And then I kind of got in this space where I was like, am I going to get to meet the actual real Kyle? Because he was like following me and then like liking all my pictures. I was like, maybe I'm actually in with a chance. Anyway, that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, so she then ended up actually going to prison for when that night that Kyle went missing, he had actually got caught with loads of heroin. She had got caught with loads of heroin on her, and she ended up going to prison for it, and then made this whole... She actually come up on my TikTok a couple months back because she had made like all these videos about like her experiences in prison and things like that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
What a story, guys. If you thought last week was dramatic, look, I'm in this week. I've got a few last questions for you. Like, if you had advice, because this season is kind of all about dating and what can go wrong and that sort of stuff. If you had advice for somebody that was like maybe 16 years old, or, you know, just becoming, you know, part of this whole scene, what would you say to them on apps?
Don't rush. If you feel like something isn't right, majority of the time it isn't. Talk to people around you, because if I had spoken to my friends and I had been truthful with them and I'd spoke to my mum, they would have gave me a reality check and they would have said to me, Shannon, something's not right. Someone who's kind of 23 when you're 16. They shouldn't be giving you the time of day. They shouldn't be even entertaining that. And if someone really wants to meet you, they're going to kind of move whatever they need to move to meet you. So I would definitely talk to the people around me.
Okay.
100%.
What is the biggest lesson that you learned from all of this?
That's a difficult one. Never, you can't trust everyone. I kind of always had the outlook on everyone should be given a chance, and kind of I'll give you a chance until you prove me wrong. Absolutely not. Like my guard stays up. I don't really entertain people from Instagram. Very rarely do I kind of entertain people from apps as well, because it's like you can be whoever you want to be on the apps, so I definitely think that you can't kind of take everyone at face value. You kind of have to kind of keep your guard up until you really kind of get to know someone, and then you can kind of let your guard down.
Wow. Well, thank you for being so brave and coming on Millennial Secrets. I really appreciate you. And look, I met you at a house party. Yeah. It's no secret. We were very drunk, and I knew that she'd be great for this podcast. So thank you for coming on.
You're very welcome.
Guys, again, like I said last week, this is one opinion amongst many, but this is a very cautionary tale. So be careful when you're on the apps.
Yeah.
Make sure, I mean, you can talk about this too, make sure that you feel safe in the situation, that it doesn't go on for years.
Yeah. No, I've now got a limit of 3 weeks. If I don't meet you within 3 weeks,
it's done.
Bye.
It's done.
Bye.
And I'm actually going to follow this up with an expert next week who'll be talking about different celebrities who've gone through the same thing. So tune in for that one. Guys, comment, share and subscribe. This is going to be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.